I think that the highlight in the past year is the institutional adoption of Bitcoin and the maturation of the asset class, along with the education of millions and millions of people as to why they might want digital property, what is a digital commodity, and what's its place in the macro economy. Now, to be clear, I still think we're very early, but you know, that phrase, you know, there are decades when nothing happens, and you know, weeks when decades happen. It really refers to paradigm shifts, and you know, if you think about the paradigm shift when automobiles arrived, you know, there's the famous snapshot in New York City where, you know, there's just a bunch of horse and buggies, and 10 years later, it's all cars. And in that 10 years, you adopted it. And if you, I remember, you know, standing once on the Pantheon and, you know, or on the Acropolis, and I'm like taking a photo and about to post it. And I think to myself, what's different about this? And I think, well, last time I was here, maybe a decade ago, I had no smartphone, I had no iPhone, there was no Facebook, there was no Instagram, you couldn't post it. There were no, you know, digital photography didn't exist. So a decade goes by and you're like, you know, you're trying to remember, you remember back in college, I went to college, we didn't have laptops, you know? Yeah. So when I was in college, there were no laptops, and I thought, well, what if I'd had a spreadsheet when I was doing engineering? You know, I went with an HP 15C calculator, and we had notebooks, and we wrote down 20 pages of calculations in a notebook with the calculator, you know, and I remember seeing people saying, well, you got a calculator? We use slide rules, you know, and you fast forward a decade and people have laptops. You fast forward another decade, you know, they have internet. You fast forward another decade, they've got YouTube and simulations, and now you're starting to question whether or not you even needed to go to college at all. Maybe you could have just sat at home. I track the financial markets since we embarked on our Bitcoin strategy. So here is what's happened since August 10th, 2020, when we adopted Bitcoin as a treasury reserve asset. Bitcoin is up 65%. MicroStrategy stock, and MicroStrategy's bought almost $4 billion, not quite, but nearly $4 billion of Bitcoin. MicroStrategy stock is up 66%. So we are tracking slightly ahead of Bitcoin. The S&P is up 14%. The NASDAQ is up 4%. Whoa, 4%. All of big tech is up 4%. Gold is down 18%, and you know, bonds, the ultra safe bonds, long-term bonds, down 18%. So in terms of asset classes, the crazy volatile Bitcoin is the best performing of all those major assets. And then you can say to yourself, well, I'm just going to invest in stocks. Okay, let's look at big tech. Google's up 37%, Apple's up 32%, Microsoft's up 16%, Amazon is down 22%, Facebook is down 45%, and Netflix is down 52%. Okay, little MicroStrategy, no one ever heard of, up 66%. Would you have guessed that a mid-sized software company, low-growth mid-sized software company nobody ever heard of, would outperform Google in the last 2 years by a factor of 2?